We call the meeting to order. These are the Gainesville Code Enforcement Special Magistrate hearings for Thursday, September the 14th, 2023. My name is Jefferson Braswell, and I am the Special Magistrate to hear the matters. We do not have any cases to be heard under the code enforcement, so most of the agenda is reduction and rescission, so I'm going to not go through my normal opening statement, and I'm just going to call these in order. It's reduction and rescission. This is Code Enforcement Board case number 2011-052. So this one is definitely old. It's City of Gainesville versus Tropical Castle Homes.
Do you need me to swear?
Yes. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you, and state your name.
Pete Backhouse, Code Enforcement Manager.
Thank you, sir. You may proceed.
Thank you. As you mentioned, this is actually a very old case from the Code Enforcement Board, 2011-052. Address is 3827 Northeast 14th Street. Parcel number 08231-005003. The owner of record is Tropical Castle Homes, LLC. Property is zoned RSF1, and we established the ownership through public records. This is where the house is located just off of Northeast 39th Avenue at Northeast 15th Street.
Okay.
It's just one or two houses in from 39th Avenue. On 2/23/2011, Officer Joe Hatt issued a notice of violation for Section 13171B, outdoor storage. Corrective action was to remove blight-inducing materials, trash, junk, and abandoned vehicles from the property, which was owned by Zephaniah Durham III at the time. As the violations were not corrected, the case was heard at 5/12/11 by the Code Enforcement Board. A guilty verdict was obtained. Violation was be corrected by 7/7/11, or a fine of $250 a day would be assessed, in addition to administrative costs of $117.08. The reason for the large fine is this was one of a series of cases that had come up on the property over the previous several years.
Okay.
Property was placed in compliance on 8/9/23. Fines accumulated to $441,600 plus the assessed costs, and the costs have been paid. On the 14th of August, I spoke with Gabby, who's the current property manager for Tropical Castle Homes, LLC. She advised they purchased the property at auction on the 25th of May of 22. They were not aware of the lien violations until they tried to sell the property, when the title company informed them of the issue on 8/1/23. When they were informed, they responded quickly and cleaned up the property by the 9th of August. Property is currently vacant and will be maintained until the sale is completed. The amount of lien was discussed, and I'm sorry, it should be Gabby agreed to the reduction of $2,000, which she deemed reasonable. So this was the case back in 2011 with photos taken by Officer Hatt. You can see there's a bunch of stuff in the yard. Another angle of it. This is the photo that I took yesterday. The property looks great. It's been well taken care of, and they'll continue to maintain it until the sale. Due to the amount that was spent to clean and repair the property, which was several $1,000s, by the way, she informed me of the amount that it took to several dumpster loads of stuff they had to remove and the vehicles. We're recommending reducing the accumulated fines to $2,000.
Okay. Is there anybody here on behalf of the petitioner for the reduction and rescission?
Looks like they didn't make it this morning.
Yeah, she called me yesterday and said they couldn't make it.
Okay.
I'd like to also present my PowerPoint.
PowerPoint submitted as Exhibit 1 to the record. And the only thing that troubles me is that the property was purchased, and then it was still a complete another year, and they were only going to clean it up because they were made to clean it up. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I'm not overly
made to do it. I'll qualify that because if you'll read the statement that they submitted regarding the reduction rescission, They had no knowledge that the violations existed. Yes, they were made to do it when they found out the lien existed because they wanted to get rid of the lien, but they weren't made aware of it prior to that.
Well, what was the condition of the property when they
It was
purchased it?
very similar to what was on the photos
And
originally.
then, and then what was the condition of the property when they discovered the problem?
That's,
Same.
in that, it was much in that condition. I don't know what it looked like on August 1st. I didn't go out to take a look at the property.
So they knew it was
They
really,
knew of the
really
condition,
bad.
yes, yes.
And then they left it really bad
Yes, sir.
for a year, and then the only reason that it was ever cleaned up is because
Mm-hmm.
they tried to sell it, had a lien on it, and had to deal with this problem.
Yes, a very large lien.
And see, most of the time when we get investors, which we really appreciate, and I really appreciate the effort there because it certainly has turned out really cute.
Yes,
But I'm a bit troubled that they would leave it in a squalid condition for a year and then try and flip it without addressing that. Well, there's nobody here on behalf of the petitioner, and so I'm going to reduce the fines to $2,500. And you can explain to them that
yes, sir.
it needed to be cleaned quicker, better.
Yep.
Not better, just I'm troubled that they would leave it in that condition for a year, and that they were only incentivized to do the hard labor once they found out that they had something that didn't have any value. Okay, next case is City of Gainesville versus Sunrock Capital. It's Code Enforcement Board case number 2005-126. Again, another.
If I could amend that, instead of Sunrock Capital, the entity that owns the properties, 2414 Northeast First Avenue LLC.
So noted for the record.
Thank you. This is another case, Code Enforcement Board case from 2005-126, 2414 Northeast First Avenue. Property number, parcel number, excuse me, is 11236-008-000, and as I mentioned, the owner of record is 2414 Northeast First LLC. Zoning is RSF1, and we established the ownership by searching public records. The location is just off of East University Avenue and Northeast 25th Street, a couple houses in on Northeast First Avenue.
Okay.
On 4/28/2005, Officer Jeff Look issued a notice of violation for Section 13171B, outdoor storage of motor vehicles. Property was owned by Willie R. and Margaret Y. Williams at the time. As the violations were not corrected, the case was heard on 7/14/05 by the Code Enforcement Board. Guilty verdict was obtained. Violation was to be corrected by 8/4/05, where a fine of $250 per day would be assessed, in addition to administrative costs of $159.88. Again, this was a nuisance property at the time, which is why they assessed the larger fine. Property was placed in compliance on 8/25/23. Fines accumulated to $1,648,500 plus the assessed costs. The costs have been paid. On the 7th of September, I spoke with Grant Barlow by phone, who is the current owner of the property under 2414 Northeast First LLC, and he advised that he purchased the property from Mr. Williams on 7/11/23. He had the property cleaned and intends to remodel it and sell it to a family, completing the work by the end of the year. Estimated cost of the remodel is approximately $54,000 plus the thousands of dollars he spent cleaning the property. The amount of the lien was discussed, and Mr. Barlow agreed the reduction to $3,000 was reasonable. So these were photos taken of abandoned vehicles on the property back in 2005. This is a photo from 2019. The violation continued unabated, and the property grew up in the meantime as part of the that same ordinance. In 2021, it's the same thing. Abandoned vehicles continue to be there, and you can see the condition of the property deteriorating. This was a photo that I took yesterday of the work that Mr. Barlow has done to clean it up and is going to start the remodel in the very near future. And Mr. Barlow is here today to speak to that. Due to the amount that Mr. Barlow has spent to clean and is going to spend to repair the property, staff recommends the accumulated fines be reduced to $3,000. I'd like to present my PowerPoint.
PowerPoint is admitted as exhibit number 1. You like to speak to this, Mr. Barlow?
Sure.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
And please state your name for the record.
Grant Barlow.
And you may proceed.
Okay. Yeah, so this property, I purchased it under that LLC 2414 Northeast 1st Avenue. And I was aware of the fines that were accumulated before I purchased it. So I just want to be clear about that. And so, you know, when I was talking to the owner about purchasing it, I brought that up with him. We got on the phone with someone from the city, code enforcement. I don't remember. Was it you, Pete, from the beginning, or was it someone else?
I think it was probably John Gates.
I think you're right, John. And we were trying to figure out if we could purchase the property, if it would even be feasible to invest in it because of the lien. And he informed me that in most cases there would be some kind of reduction if we committed to fixing it. And so that's kind of the I guess gamble that I purchased the property with, is kind of rolling the dice and saying, okay, in most cases they're claiming that this fine could be reduced and make this a feasible investment. And so that's the purpose of establishing the 2414 Northeast 1st Avenue LLC with me as the sole owner on that LLC, and that the only property in that LLC is just the roll of the dice on that investment.
So you don't think you can fix it up and cover that extra couple $1 million? So what I'm interested in is what do you plan on doing with the property? Tell me about the your strategy and approach to upgrading the house and so forth.
Yeah, so we have a couple of other properties in Gainesville that we have invested in, and my strategy and approach is going to be the same on all of them. We have a color palette that we really like to stick to, and it really matches that style of home. The one at note that I can think of off the top of my head, I've actually been here for it before, is 2201 Northeast 15th Terrace. That's a rental property that I'm a partial owner on, and we would follow a very similar path to that, which we put a new roof on that one, and did a cosmetic update, and hold it as a rental property. This one, instead of holding it as a rental, we do plan to resell the property once we remodel it, and I think that we can get that done in.
You're going to put some new cabinets and new appliances?
Yeah, everything on the inside's got to go. Yeah, from the interior doors, baseboard, trim, drywall patch repair. We'll upgrade the electrical panel because it's old and outdated. There's quite a bit that is going to have to be done to that property. So.
Well, look, if the last petitioner had shown up, I probably and heard from them and gotten a sincere response about the strategies and so forth, I probably would have reduced it to $2,000. So that's what I'm going to do in your case. I'm going to reduce it to $2,000.
Thank you.
And we appreciate you coming by and speaking to it, and when we appreciate your efforts in upgrading the neighborhood.
Thank you.
Okay. Do we have another one on Sunrock Capital?
One more.
Sunrock, so this is we're done with Sunrock Capital.
Correct.
Okay, so we're moving on. Next case
Yes.
is City of Gainesville versus Lee Hun Young. I hope I haven't killed that name. Say it again.
Lee Shandong.
Lee Shandong.
Yes.
And it's special, there's two cases, and we're gonna hear them at the same time, Mr.
Yes,
Backhouse?
sir, if that's all right.
Yeah, Special Magistrate number 2023-022 and Special Magistrate 2023-027. You may proceed.
Thank you. Address of the property is 2233 Southwest 39th Way, Apartments A and D.
Okay.
Parcel number 06735-128-001. The owner is Lee Junjiang. Zoning on the property is U9 and established it by researching public records. This is Southwest 20th Avenue and 24th Avenue. It's in the little neighborhood down here off of 20th.
Okay.
On 4/13/23, field collector Jeffrey McClintock issued a notice of violation for 14.5.3, failure to obtain a residential rental unit permit for each of the units. Corrective action was to obtain the permit. As the violation was not corrected, cases were heard, one in May and one in June, actually, by the magistrate, and a guilty verdict was obtained. The violation was being corrected by 6/23/23, or a one-time fine of $250 would be assessed in addition to administrative costs of $164.83 for each case. The permit fees have now been paid, and the property is placed in compliance. Fines total $500 plus the assessed cost, and the costs have been paid as well.
Is that 500, is that 250 per case?
$250 per case, yes, sir.
I thought a lot of that, the 250 was to cover the cost of the permit.
No, the costs for the permit never go away. It was a fine on top of the cost of the permit because of not
I'm
coming
with
into
you.
compliance with the ordinance.
Okay. So that's a separate cost.
Correct.
So there's costs.
Co-
there's
plus fine.
The permit,
Plus the
which
permit.
they've obtained, they paid for.
Exactly, yes, sir.
Plus the fine of $500.
That is correct.
Okay.
On the 17th of August, I spoke with Grayson Lee, the current property owner, who advised there was confusion over making permits for the payments, including issues with the website, being able to make the payments, and a misunderstanding with Mr. McClintock that the issues have been resolved prior to the hearing. Should be noted there appears to be a little bit of a language barrier involved, but they have paid the permit fees, and they have paid the costs on the case. Due to that and coming into compliance, we're recommending that we dismiss the $250 per property.
What's your logic on that?
I think that's more than reasonable considering that we are now in compliance. We have gotten what we wanted, and the costs have associated with processing this case have been paid as well.
Okay. Do either one of you want to speak to the
Would you like to present my PowerPoint?
We'll take the PowerPoint presentation as Exhibit 1. Did you want to speak to anything? You don't have to.
So actually,
If you wish.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth? You may proceed.
okay, so we appealed, they agreed the fee, waived the fee, $250 each unit.
Okay.
But they charged for administration fee for $164.83 for the unit. So total 320. Oh, but we find the charge. We waived the 50, yeah. So waived the 250. So they said 329.66 that for charging for administration fee. But that is all systematically wrong. That is not our fault. I just all paid for rental permit fees. So I just appeal to remove the or waive the or administration.
Okay.
Yes. Fee.
I candidly am a little reluctant to reduce it to 0 because, compliance on these things is important. I'm going to follow Mr. Backhouse's recommendation in this regard, though, and I'm going to agree to reduce the fine of $500 to $50 per case to 0. But I think that it's important for you to know next year, right? 2024, you've got to get your landlord permit. You understand?
Great, may I speak? My name is Grace, and
Okay.
I'm the daughter of Miss Lee here. The reason why we had to go through this is because, first of all, we were not able to pay the rental permit fee online website. We tried to, but when we got the notice, after a few days, we logged on to the website as the notice was given with the username and password. And when we logged on, the website was not functioning correctly. When we clicked on to pay, or to renew, the actual message popped up saying the balance was 0, and it would not proceed. So that was one problem. So the problem was the website, not
Okay.
us.
I'm reducing it, okay, but I'm only pointing out next year, make sure you're in compliance. Okay, so we've agreed and we've reduced the fine. Just be aware that it repeats every year. And the obligation to obtain the permit exists every year.
Right, we understand that. It was
Okay.
just that there was a problem with the website and a miscommunication with the officer.
Well, their office, if need be, is in the Thomas Center. And if all else fails and you can't do it, you can either come to the city clerk's office, you can go to the code enforcement office, but don't leave it unpaid. You know that the obligation exists. Make sure it gets paid on time.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we understand that.
Okay. So that covers it. You're good.
Okay.
You're done.
Oh, okay. All right.
Thank you all.
Thank you. There are no cases on the regular agenda for today. We have some continuance requests. Special Magistrate number 2023-075, City of Gainesville versus Jake Brown Jr. heirs. And that is granted. And then we have Special Magistrate number 2023-124, City of Gainesville versus William E. McLean. And that's granted. And then we have Special Magistrate number 2023-125, City of Gainesville versus Tyler Smith. And that one is also granted. Is there anything else to come before the Special Magistrate this morning? If not, we are adjourned. Thank you.